Real talk. Let's talk about it.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Real Authentic Growth Podcast. I'm Harold, and I'm doing this podcast to help motivate and help people grow, but also to help myself grow as I do the podcast with y'all. Today, I got two amazing guys on here with us today, man, and we're just going to discuss overcoming obstacles. I hope y'all stay tuned, man. This is worth the watch. With that being said, let's get straight to it. So welcome back. As I mentioned earlier, I got these two awesome guests with me. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce them, give y'all a little background. So we got my man, Mr. J here. And this is someone that has overcome obstacles and has lived to tell about it. He is also someone who has turned his pain into his purpose. He is now a mentor, a motivational speaker, who has also spoken for schools, prisons, basketball teams, and youth organizations. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for joining us, Mr. J.
Appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir. We got my man, Mr. Calvin. So, Mr. Calvin, I call this the man of the year every year. See, the reason why I say that is, look, because this guy is not only a great father, but also a great husband. And it takes a real man to not only be an intentional father, but also a loving husband that provides a safe space for his wife. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Calvin. Yes, sir. It's factual. So, let me give him a little understanding. So, I've known Jay for about 6 months to a year now, and we've grown pretty close. Like, we have very similar mindsets when it comes to life, like mentoring and all that, helping the youth and just helping them become who they meant to be. And I love that about him, man. Good dude. And Mr. Calvin, I know him for about, 5 years,
6 years.
5, 6 years, man. This is a good man, man. When I first met him, he seemed like a nice guy. He was just chill. He had a change since. Like, great man, man. Doing some
I
great
appreciate
things.
that. Likewise.
Of course, man, for real. So today we're just gonna be talking about mostly anything. Remember I told you I was gonna start a freedom mind, so I'm gonna bring people on when we just talk and just, relieve whatever we may be thinking about or any questions we had, and we just talk to each other about it. So this is freedom mind. I believe this is our first time doing this, so. Yeah, it's our first time doing it. I also brought them because we had great conversations the last time we talked. It was an event I did, and they showed up. We talked the whole time. It was like 2 hours, but it felt like it was like 2 minutes. Okay, I'm being extra. It felt like 20 minutes, but the people had to come into the library. They were like, "Hey man, the time is up." I said, "Oh really? Look at the time." I said, "Man." We was just having a great conversation. You know it's good when you don't even pay attention to the time. You feel me? So. Y'all got something to look forward to, so just stay tuned and I hope you enjoy it. So we're gonna let the guys and gals get to know y'all a little bit. So we're gonna do a little rapid fire. Okay? So what I'm gonna do is I got some cards right here. I'm gonna shuffle them up real quick like. And then you're gonna pick the card. After you pick the card, I'm gonna ask you whatever questions are on the card. So I'm gonna ask each person a different question. All right, you gotta say whatever comes to your mind. You get no seconds. Did you get a question?
Straight off.
Straight off.
All right.
All right. Y'all both pick a card, any card. Choose wisely, because some of these questions may be something serious. All right. Ready for this? Got me fired. All right, let's see what we got for you. Okay. In what way do you hold yourself back?
I think I hold myself back sometimes from a lack of confidence, and it affects like what I do. For example, it held me back from motivational speaking at first because I knew I had a story. I knew I had something to share with the world, but I didn't do it because I was limiting myself. I held myself back from a lack of confidence.
That's deep.
Yeah.
So if you could travel anywhere, where would it be?
Canada.
Canada. Okay. Why Canada?
Because they got a mix. They got a mix of city life. They got a mix of like nature life.
Yeah.
And I love that balance, that equilibrium. So I would definitely travel to Canada.
I like that. All right. So in what way would you like to be famous?
from motivational speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be the first speaker in the world with a brain injury. That's my ultimate goal.
Man.
So yeah, I just feel like that's what I was born to do. I feel like that's what I was created to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I can have it my way, that's why I would want to be famous.
I like that. Well, I can tell you this: you are definitely on the right path.
I think so
For
too.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Tell you. Is it better to be intelligent or wise?
I would say wise
Mm.
because you can be intelligent, but sometimes when you have a lot of intelligence, it can make you arrogant.
Mm.
But if you wise, you know, like basically you have like the perfect timing of when you do stuff. So basically you can know the right thing to say, but you know when to say it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say wisdom. Wisdom is more important. It's gained from life experiences. You know, it's gained from failures, it's gained from getting knocked down in life. So you gain stuff like that. And I think ultimately if you have the right perspective about it, you will gain wisdom.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so tell me about a time you received an award or special recognition.
Well, actually, I received an award when I just spoke at the prison in Greenwood. So when I went down there and I spoke to like 50 plus ladies,
Yeah.
and you know, I basically received an award for my perseverance and overcoming.
Man.
So yeah, that was a beautiful experience, and the certificate, the award made me feel wholesome.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
That's what's up.
You did great. Good job. You did that real quick off the top. All right, Mr.
I
Callis.
don't know if I'm gonna be as quick.
You got this. I believe you. You got this. All right. What do you draw when you do?
Mainly stars. I do stars. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think stars interest you so much when it comes to doodling?
It's just something that's quick and just I don't know. Oh man, you got me with that one. I don't know. It's just something I always have done. I don't know. I just do a little star right here.
I
and
like
there.
that. I got you. It's because you're a star in the making.
There you go.
That's right.
And you're building stars as well.
That hopefully, yeah.
I'll tell you. All right, so do you prefer crowds, small groups, or being alone?
Small groups. Between small groups and being alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why do you say that instead of crowds?
I mean, I've always been a loner or I've been an introvert my whole life. So I'm always cool with just being at home. But then I don't mind being around friends and loved ones, but I don't like being around like huge crowds.
Yeah.
People that you know, like you don't know their intentions. So I just, yeah.
Actually, too many
Stick
eyes
to-
to keep on.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Facts.
Oh, he looks suspicious too. Yeah, man. And I feel like with being alone, it's not a bad thing
No.
unless you isolate yourself from other people.
And I had to learn the difference too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it is okay sometimes too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because it can go from being alone to being like depressed and being alone. And you don't want to be depressed. You have to make sure you have your people.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's good to have that time to yourself though, for sure. So, what was the last thing you photographed?
Well, it's probably my kids, man.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, probably took a photo of my kids.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on my camera roll.
Love it, love it. What is one of your pet peeves?
Pet peeves. I don't know, like mess. I don't like mess. Yeah, so I everything got to be neat and tidy. I can't stand things just being out of order.
Okay.
So yeah, anything in regards to that,
Right.
it's just yeah.
So, would you say you have a hint of OCD?
I think so.
Yeah.
I say everybody around me would say so. So I think so. Yeah, just a little bit.
That'd be a good thing though, for sure. I know what I need. For real. All right, last question. What makes this an amazing time to be alive?
It's time to be alive. I don't know, man. I just waking up every day and enjoying life. I don't know. And I'm learning that because I'm about to be 30 this year.
Yeah.
I'm learning that the older that I get, just taking advantage of every day and just soaking it in. Because once the experiences are gone, that's it. So you got to enjoy every single moment while you're in it. So
Actually.
I don't know, man. Just my family,
Yeah.
my career. I don't know. That's yeah.
I like that. I like that. That's a good answer, man. That's a great answer.
Appreciate it.
That's the best answer you could give. For real. Man. So thank y'all for playing Rapid Fire. Y'all did a great job.
Appreciate it.
For real. Alright, so now we're gonna go to a little segment. Where I'm just gonna let y'all talk about whatever may be on y'all minds. If you have anything in your minds, and we'll go from there. We just gonna have a conversation, you know.
Okay.
So anything that y'all been thinking about lately that y'all like, I wonder what somebody else thinks about this.
I could pose a question.
Okay.
I would say like in the last year or the last 6 months, what's the most challenging thing you overcame?
So the last most challenging thing I've overcame in the last 6 months. That's a good question. Give us some time, guys.
Cause I think I remember, not my bad.
Oh, you good.
I think I remember last time you were saying like how you let yourself get in the way of like some things in your relationship and stuff like that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
That's
so
definitely one of them. Trying to see about how to put this. See, I would definitely say maybe insecurities or not knowing how to love myself. I think I've been dabbling in that for most of my life though, because stuff that happened in the past when I was younger.
gotcha.
Traumatized and whatnot. So it would definitely be learning how to love myself. That was probably the most challenging thing. And honestly, God is the only reason why I know how to love myself now, which helps me love others. Because that mentoring and all that, I would not be doing that right now at all. I can tell you that for a fact. Because in the back of my mind, I'd be like, dang, how am I gonna teach this kid something? And I got troubles of my own, you know. I mean, we all facing something. We all got troubles of our own that we have to deal with every day. But if I'm over here just letting myself fall and just being like, okay, it's all right, I failed. I'm gonna fall again. So I'm just gonna keep doing whatever I do instead of actually taking the time and being intentional about my growth and just learning how to be my best self. I feel like when I can do that, I can teach others how to do that. And that's what I feel like the path I've been on so far.
I was gonna say, kind of going in and saying, I saw a quote today while I was sitting in the car. It's like, before you lead other, or I think it said before you lead your household, you gotta learn how to lead yourself first. So kind of similar in that regards, I guess.
That's
You gotta learn how to be your best you before you can give yourself to others, I guess, in a sense.
That's facts.
I would say another thing too. You gotta be aware with that to a degree, because one thing you don't want to allow is you don't want to allow your trauma to time travel. So another thing is too is like mapping out like, okay, diagnosing where did this trauma come from?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where did these insecurities stimulate from? Once you diagnose things like that, I feel like it'd be a little bit easier for you to manage or overcome. Because I had to do the same thing, honestly. Because I was battling with some stuff too, getting picked on and stuff like that. But with me, you know, I had to diagnose like, okay, is this really true about myself, this feeling that I'm feeling? And if it is not, let me misplace this and put it over here. You know what I'm saying? Because really, you could really turn your insecurities into your powers. You really do that. So that's what I did. Because, I mean, really, that's what led me somewhat to speaking. Because I had an insecurity of getting up and speaking in front of people. I hated it. Because I always think like, that's why I always say, I used to go last when I was standing up in front of the classroom doing my presentations. I always went last because I was thinking like, okay, what is this student thinking of when they're looking at me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to always think like that. So it's like, how can you turn your insecurities into your powers? And with me, I just simply stopped caring. Because I mean, God gave me a story. Why would I sit and be selfish with it and not do nothing? So I don't want to live my life in mediocrity or being average. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely understand what you're saying. I can relate to that 100%. When they say, you know, the little saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words won't hurt me, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know how they say it?
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
words cut.
Words cut.
Words cut.
They hurt, bro.
Yeah.
They hurt. And then because once you, I feel like words don't hurt until you believe what they're saying. So when what they say becomes reality, then you just start living that. That's what you think about yourself, and it's just in your mind. You going every time you see something, look in the mirror, like, dang, you might be right. That is ugly. Oh, I do need to fix that. Like, there's a lot of things that people can say that can really tear you down, and it's like, you got bullying, because I got bullied in school too. And it was like, okay. But it was because I smiled a lot. And I don't know why that triggered people for some reason.
Unhappy people.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
And I had to stop smiling for a good little minute so I could put my mean mug on so people leave me alone. And eventually they did. I became one of the cool kids and all that stuff. But deep down, I still couldn't be myself. And that was something I struggled with since I was 20, I'm 28 now, about to be 29, about 26, 27, no, 26, 27, yeah. And it was, God told me, he literally was like, look, you're not alone, you've never been alone. I'm here with you, and you are my child. So I had to realize what that means. So I had to do my research and be like, okay, so I am loved, I am beautiful, I am made in your image. So with that being said, how can I believe what they say? Me believing what they say, that's me basically saying, forget what you say, God. That don't matter, but that's not the case. So learning how to do that helped me love myself, which, because I didn't know how to love myself, I didn't know how to love my wife, right? Didn't know how to love my kid, right? And then also had me doing stuff that I was like, okay, this ain't you, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, I really had to dig deep, like, bro, what's going on with you? Because I was like, man, I might have a problem.
Nah, for real. So start speaking to other parts of your life.
Yeah, and I'm like, because I never expect myself to go here when I was just not on this path, but now I feel like I'm diverting everywhere else. And it's like, where am I going? Because the goal I'm trying to reach, I was definitely not on that path. It was like, okay, you're self-destructive. And I was just hindering myself from really receiving what God had for me. Because he's blessed me plenty of times. And I'm like, I still like throw it back and I'm like, okay, yeah, you gave me this, but I don't deserve this. You gave me this, but I don't deserve this. So I'm gonna do what I can to mess that up. And things transpire here and there, but God. So
But I would also say this too. I also think it's a journey of self-growth.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, I feel like God gives us challenges that's directly connected to who we are as people. So, for example, like you said, you didn't really love yourself the way you needed to.
Right.
I feel like that's a challenge somewhat from God. So now you can love your wife. So now you can love your children properly. So now you can be aware of the love that you didn't receive to cause those things. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like everything is really orchestrated by God, though. It really is. So yeah.
I mean, a hard time make you stronger.
Yeah.
He said, be joyful or rejoice whenever you get trouble, because it builds perseverance and endurance.
Every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time.
It does do that. It makes you stronger. I definitely had a tougher skin now than I did back in the day, for sure, because of that. And like you say, I don't care as much now, because it's like, why should I care what you say? You don't live for me, I don't live for you. Like, that's your problem. You worry about your problem. Leave my problem. I'm gonna handle my problem. All right, that's all that's to it. So I definitely agree with that.
Kind of on the opposite end of there too, though. Yeah. I feel like obstacles like that also made me more intentional of how I speak to others too, or what words I put into others. Yeah. Especially like my loved ones, because you don't know what they're dealing on the outside. So I don't want to bring even more negativity. So I'm very like what words I say to my sons. Like I don't want to label them as something, and then they start believing in their head, oh, that's me. Like for bad. Like I don't like saying you're bad, because then they may start believing that they're bad. So it's just words have a lot of meaning to it and a lot of power. So you got to be very careful with how you use them.
Right. That's funny you said that about the bad thing. Like that's what people used to call me all the time.
Yeah.
I'm hyperactive and ADHD and all that stuff. So I was everywhere. And I was bouncing off the walls and I was just not focusing. Like, that's a bad kid. Right. My mom would always say, he's not bad. He's just hyper. Exactly. He's just active. And I was like, yeah, I appreciate you for standing up for me for that. And I didn't care about that when I was younger. But as I got older, I was like, yeah, you're right. They shouldn't have called me dad. Because a lot of people, they diagnose, I guess you could say diagnose. They're supposed to diagnose the problem, but they feel like they're diagnosing the person instead of the problem. And then they feel like they are the problem.
Yeah.
So they can't differentiate
the two.
Yeah, the two. So it's like,
did they try to put you on written in school?
They did.
That's a business.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a business. They diagnose kids around the world with that.
That's crazy.
You know who Dr. Umar is, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he be talking about that.
You do?
Yeah.
I might just check that out.
Yeah, that's a business, bro.
Yeah, I got on that around 8, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wow. Well, I'm having on a leash.
Yeah, see? I somewhat went through that, but in a different way. Yeah. I went through that because I had poor grades in school. Mm-hmm. So they try to label me eligible mental retarded.
Yeah.
So when I graduated, the dude, he had to apologize to me because I mean, you labeled me because I had bad grades at the time. Well,
Right.
see where I was, your condition, that's your conclusion. Don't mean you're gonna finish there. So you know what I'm saying. So I had real bad grades at Spring Valley High School.
Yeah.
But that don't mean that I was gonna stay there.
Factual.
And honestly, bro, like, cause I mean it's uncomfortable sometimes, but I'm okay with it now. But like you said, focus issues. I had focus issues in this class too. My mind used to wander all over the place,
Facts.
brain everywhere, bro. So I don't think you could say hyper, but I just feel like you know you young.
Right.
Kids want to be up and moving. You know what I'm saying? So
That's facts.
I agree with some of that, but I don't think it's that. I think you labeling it something.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, once they told me, and I'm a kid, so I'm like, oh, I guess that's what I got. And then with that came excuses like, oh yeah, I got this grade. You know, I don't study very well. The teachers look out for you, like, all right, well, here, do this, do that. So it kind of became my excuse as well. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I am active, so I'm gonna go ahead and get active. You feel me? But yeah, man, it definitely, that definitely can hinder your growth when it comes to those kind of challenges for sure, especially when you believe what other people say. That's why we gotta have a strong mindset. The world out there is it's a dark place, so you gotta be careful, bro.
And I feel like too, challenges present itself in your life to develop you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, God knows everything. So, for me, like you said, I didn't have the confidence that I was supposed to have in school either. My focus wasn't there, my grades wasn't there. And in the back of my mind as a kid, you got things you want to do, you got dreams, you got aspirations, you got goals, right? And sometimes when you can't fulfill those things, it'll lead to depression, it'll lead to stress. You know what I'm saying? It sometimes will lead to you not wanting to go to school, right? And so I feel like that's when you have to be more intentional about really what you want. And tune out the noise a little bit, like what everybody's saying around you, and just lock in and figure out, okay, you know what? This is what I see for myself, and this is what I'm going to do for myself, and lay out a plan of how you want to get to it, how you want to achieve it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's good. Another thing about that, I feel like people that are diagnosed with ADHD, I feel like they don't have trouble focusing. They just have trouble focusing on things they don't want to focus on. Like with me, when I get active, I get hyperactive on something. On that one thing, I get focused. Like if I'm doing music, I'm doing a podcast, I'm gonna focus on that, and I'm gonna just stay consistent with it. So I get hyperactive about it, and if it's something I want to learn, something I want to study, I can remember it pretty good. But when it's not, I'm just like, oh, everything. So you have to really tell yourself, like, this is something I want. For those out there that may have been diagnosed with ADHD, this is not like a little commercial for it. But definitely find out something that you're, I wouldn't say in love with, but something that you like to do. And get tuned into that and get hyper focused. Oh Lord, help me out. Hyper focused on that. So that way you can see what you can accomplish. Because there's a lot of things I've done that I'm like, oh, I'm surprised I did that. I didn't think I could do that. Like being in the fire department and all that. You had to take a little test and all that. Surprised I passed that red test. Don't know how I did it. But I did it. You know, so it's like you gotta really find out what intrigues you.
Yeah.
And just go after that.
Really finding out what your passions is.
Exactly.
Because I can tell you passionate about conversation,
That's
right?
the word,
Because
yeah.
I mean, I'm passionate about conversation. I think we all passionate about conversation. So yeah, it's really just labeling out what are you passionate about, and then once you have a why, like on why you love it so much, okay, find out how you're gonna take it to the next level.
Exactly.
Thanks.
That's really what it's about.
Thanks. What did they say? Heard something on a podcast or something, and it was like whatever it might have been a book I read because John C. Maxwell, it might have been that. Whatever you're good at, focus on getting better at it. You can focus on stuff that you're not so good at, but then you over here multitasking. But why not hone in on that one thing and become the best at that one thing? That's like, I'm working on that now. And I'll be over here trying to do everything at once, but I'm getting better with most focusing on things that I feel like I'm good at. But it's kind of hard to tell what you're good at? So what do you think when it comes to that? How do you tell what you're good at in order to make that better?
Look at what you do the most.
Okay.
I was gonna get that.
Yeah, look at what you do the most. Because I realize with me, I love intellectual conversation.
Yeah.
I'm always out talking to people all the time. That's me. So, and I'm always encouraging someone. So I'm like, okay, this is what I like to do. So that's why it made sense for me to do like speaking, because that's really who I am as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then like basketball, that's something that I love to do.
Yeah.
Like my love grew for basketball. So I'm like, now I put myself in a position where I can speak to kids. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See how the two coincide?
Yeah.
So like, that's what I'm like, I mean, I can't physically hoop no more,
Yeah.
but now I can instill with you the knowledge and the encouragement so you can go out there and be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. So I like that. I like that. Yeah, with me, like Calvin said earlier, introverted, like that would be the whole time. But I think that was the cause of me not knowing how to love myself. So once that I learned how to love myself, I became more talkative. Cause I was actually not talkative before. Cause I'd be like in my head, like, man, what this man thinking about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we're talking, but I don't know what we really think. So, but when I started, like, even there's this guy at my church, Jermaine, if you're watching, shout out to you. He's one of my mentors now. But when I first met him, he smiled a lot, black guy. He smiled a lot, and I thought it was phony. Like, I thought it was fake. Cause I was like, how you always smiling every time I see you?
How you always
And then I see myself questioning. I guess I see myself acting like the people that were back in the day that when I was smiling a lot. Why you always smiling? So it kind of like, oh dang, I'm looking at I'm looking at a reflection in the mirror. I'm over here questioning you now. Like, why you smiling a lot when I wanted to do that back in the day?
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's because he saw something that I didn't want him to see. So once I got to know him a little bit, I was like, oh, this guy's genuinely like real. Like and then I started wanting to be like, okay, I want to be back to that guy that smiled a lot. That when you see me, I smile and make you smile. You have a bad day, I'm trying to make you happy, you feel me? So I'm grateful for that. So shout out. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
What do y'all feel like is, you may not know, you may not have an answer, but what do you feel like is somewhat of your life purpose? Yeah.
So say that one more time for me.
Like what you think will ultimately end up being like your life purpose?
I mean, I think mine will still be in the realm of what I'm doing. It's just helping people. That's always been the go-to person. People always come to me for advice or anything. So I feel like still something in that realm, but I just don't. I'm trying to figure out what can I do to grow and become better at it, I guess, or grow within my organization, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I found it's a self-fulfilling thrill or something, I guess, when I know that I've made a difference in somebody's life. So
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think it's obvious that we all got the same mindset when it comes to that. Because I would say we all have a servant heart.
yeah.
Yep.
A heart to serve. So like we love to see people happy. And even if we not happy, we still want to see them happy. We don't be over here like, oh man, I'm mad, so I want everybody else to be mad. Nah, that's lame. That's lame. You feel me? So definitely, like Calvin said, just to help people. So like that's the purpose.
I got another good
That's
question.
what you got for us.
Okay, so what do you feel like is your call to lead moment?
Explain that for me.
So like basically, call to lead is like, okay, you feel like you have been called by God to serve.
Right.
So like for you, you say you was depressed, you was introverted,
Right.
you lack confidence.
Right.
I feel like now you've been called to lead, to mentor. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because now another child's gonna go through the same thing that you went through, and they gonna need encouragement. They basically gonna need what you needed when you didn't have it.
I like what you
You
said.
feel me? Yeah.
Because that's why I mentor at a school now, middle school, and some of the kids ask me like, why you mentor? Like, why do you want to come to school to help kids? And I be like, because I want to be what I didn't have when I was your age. Because I wish I would have had somebody that could look out for me, that would listen to what I'm saying, and not just be like, oh, he always get in trouble. He always acting up. He's a lost cause. You know, I wanted somebody to be able to be like, okay, even though you're going through this right now, even though you may have made me mad, I'm not gonna hold that against you. You had a day, and now it's a new day. So guess what? we gonna act like it never happened. We gonna talk about it a little bit, but like even with some of the kids, like one of the kids, Brandon, he was a little dude. He was 6th grader, and I had to think about cussing. Like I don't like to cuss around me like that. Well, kids per se, because like I'm an adult. If I'm not cussing, like I don't think you should be cussing either.
Right.
Like use your vocabulary to actually express what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And so we playing, like I got a little thing, so I understand, I'm all about progress. So I understand, like even when I was that age, I used to cuss a lot. I didn't do it because I liked it, I did it because everybody else did it. So I was like, so I give you this. You get 3 chances, and that's all you get. After that, you out. Like whatever we doing, if we having a fun day, like you gotta go. You gotta go back to class, wherever you need to be at. So he was playing basketball. He cussed twice already in the room. And then he cussed again when he was in the hallway, and I was like, that's 3. That's what I always say. I said, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. He's like, oh man, give me one more, give me one more. I said, I'm like, nah, Brandon, I like it. So I'm gonna give you one more. All right, we'll give you one more. We get outside, playing basketball, and he like basketball. He pretty nice too. But he got mad. He's like F. And I was like, Brandon, that's 4. You out? Come on. He's like, man, what? I said, yeah, you out? Come on. He's like, man, I'm not out. I said, bro, you either getting out or you're not playing again. He's like, man, whatever. And then he told me something. Yeah, man, don't talk to me. Like, stop talking to me. I'm like, bro, like, I'm just telling you, like, you did it. I didn't do it. You let the words come out your mouth. I did it. And he was just talking back, kept talking back. And I was like, okay, well, Brandon is what it is. Talking about something, yeah, they need me anyway. And I was like, yeah, they might need you, but you ain't gonna get in. Like, it's not even now. I gotta go back in. I said, no, you don't. They're just gonna play with whoever they got on the team. And so the next day, and I thought about that afterwards. I was like, I shouldn't make him apologize, but I should wait until he apologizes to let him have fun day again. Cause like you're talking to an adult, like you shouldn't be disrespectful to adults. It's not just about me. It's for all the other teachers too. Cause he can talk. He always a thing talking back. So it was kind of like, should I do that? But I talked to my wife. He was like, nah. I mean, you know, they make mistakes, this and that. And I was like, yeah, I feel you, but he keeps making that mistake. It's like all the teachers be like, yeah, Brandon, he's a good kid, make good grades. He just talk back too much. I'm like, yeah. So how can I help him understand like that's not what we're supposed to do? But I said, you know what, forget that. Instead, I'm gonna do what I feel like I should do and just give him another chance and just start over. So it's a new day. And then that's when he came up, he was like, yeah, Mr. G, this and that, and that, blase. So he didn't hold it against me either. So like with them, they don't like expect you to be mad. But when you still mad about stuff, they be like, really, you still over here mad because I did something yesterday? Like it's a new day. So long story short, it's just I try to give them chances I wouldn't have. Like if I made a mistake, I don't want you to be all mad at me and upset like the whole day and maybe you pay for it by not letting me have fun day and this and that. So I was like, you know what, I ain't gonna do like that about it. But next time, now you know that I'm serious though. You know I'm serious when I say after that 3, it's done. You know I gave you a little chance. I gave you one chance, but I think you understand now. Like, oh, Mr. G serious. But I don't try to be too extra about the stuff, but fine line you gotta know between adult and friend. I ain't your friend, I'm your adult mentor, trying to help you make better choices in life.
Well, I'm gonna say this. My little brother, he got suspended off the bus a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he's not a bad kid. He's quiet. He's introverted, but he was around the wrong people. And so, you know, I called him. My mom had texted me. He was like, Grayson got put off the bus for a week, and whatnot. So I called him, and I said, well, great. What did you learn from getting put off the bus? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, what did you learn from what you did? Like throwing paper on the bus, you got put off the bus for that. What did you learn? And he said, well, I guess not being around who I needed to be around, that's not really my friend for real. I said, exactly. Why did you do that? So what I was gonna tell you is I think you should integrate in there, like ask them what they learned from what they did. Mm-hmm. So like they can assess like, okay, I didn't just make this mistake. I made this mistake, but also what did I learn from making this mistake? How is it gonna hinder me going forward if I keep doing the same thing? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, yeah, you definitely should integrate that.
That's good. I'm definitely gonna do that. That's good right there. Hey, that's good. Yeah, that's good right there. I gotta marinate on that for a second. Yeah, because that's true though. Cause I be wanting them to know like what they did, so that way they can make sure they don't let it happen again. Even though if it does happen again, at least you know like how to assess yourself and be aware of what you need to do better. So I like that, man. That's good stuff right there.
Because I mean, those tools you know, you can apply into adolescence, and you can also apply in adulthood. Because, like, for example, like, as friends, as husbands, as wives, sometimes we make mistakes and we do things, but how often do we assess what we do, though?
Right.
Like, how often we look at ourselves and say, you know what, I said something that was really hurtful to you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean that. I got a man up and apologize to make this right, to make this better.
Thanks.
But you gotta be able to have that capacity to look within inside of yourself and say, you know what, I made this mistake. Let me correct it.
Yeah.
So that could really impact somebody's life, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's good. Yeah. I feel like a lot of adults have a lot to grow. Well, we have a lot of growing to do.
Yeah.
Just because we call ourselves adults don't mean we act like adults.
For sure, yeah.
Sometimes you can call something out and they be like all upset. Like, man, you think you perfect or something? They be like, no, I don't think I'm perfect. I just know what I can do better on, but I also know what you can do better on. Sometimes you need an outside perspective. And you may not look at yourself like that sometimes. You'll be like, okay, well, I'm glad you told me that. You know what? I'm going to consider that. I'm going to take that into consideration. So it's good to...
Accountability is the hardest thing.
That's the word.
That's the hardest thing.
Accountability.
But see, I now realize this too now. When a person says something like, well, you think you're better than me, realize where that's coming from. Mm-hmm. That's an underlying insecurity.
Yes.
Because they do feel like you're better than them. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so like, that's something that you really got to look at too. Because like, I'm a great listener. Yeah. So I listen to exactly what people say. And I try to diagnose sometimes when people talking, where is they speaking from? Yeah. Because sometimes people can speak from a place of hurt, a place of pain. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A place of experience. It's different. So like when I'm listening, I try to make sure I'm like present in the moment, so I can actually hear you. Thanks. And sometimes people crying out, but they don't make it seem like that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they really don't have nobody to talk to, but they don't know how to voice that. They don't know how to advocate for themselves and stuff. So, I mean, you just gotta listen with an open mind and an open ear, for real.
So you basically listen to what they're saying, but you also listen to what they're not saying.
Exactly.
Love it. I love it.
Yep.
Love that. That takes intentionality. So
It does.
It's not easy. You gotta practice that for sure. For sure.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. You see, I notice a lot of people, when they hit a wall, they feel stuck, like they can't make it through. Sometimes they don't realize that only because of the fact that they think it's impossible, they don't even try to go through the wall, around the wall, or even over the wall. If you're ready to actually take the initiative to learn the best ways to overcome them obstacles, be sure to tune in part 2 of Overcoming Obstacles. With that being said, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all can join me next time on the Real Authentic Growth Podcast. Remember, don't make excuses. Work through it. Pray y'all have a blessed week. With that being said, hey, we out.
Real talk.